Well, I have. Hey, we're alive when we're talking here. Everybody, welcome.
Hey.
But I pay for subscription because I hate the ads too. So, welcome to Impact Podcast. Welcome to our conversation here.
Yes.
We already started offline, and we're so glad that you're here with us tonight. This is going to be a very special night with our friend here, Anthony Dellaventura. My friend AJ's back with me. So welcome, my brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate having you here. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Honored and blessed to be here.
That's awesome. So here it is, friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to invite your friends. Talk to everybody. Call everybody, because this tonight is going to be a very helpful, impactful podcast. So you're going to hear a lot of things that I know that you have questions about, things that are going to open your eyes, going to direct you if you try to lose weight, if you're trying to stay in shape, if you already got your excellent shape, but you want to stay there, you're going to get a lot of help here tonight. Tips from a professional, a friend that it's been on business for over 26 years. This guy knows what he's talking about. You can see him. It's working. I remember just, a quick thing that there's a guy that wanted to train me one time, many, many years ago. But he was extremely overweight, and he was a personal trainer. I was like, I don't think it's, what you're doing.
Am I going to look like you afterwards?
Yeah, it's not working for you. It's not working for you. But that's totally different here. So we welcome you. We welcome him. And before I give it to him, I want you to introduce our special guest here tonight. So talk about him a little bit.
We got a very special guest tonight, Anthony Dellaventura. I said it right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Dellaventura.
Of the Adventure in Spanish, which is awesome. So, married to his beautiful wife, Kristen, he has been in the fitness industry for over 26 years, which is nuts. His first job was when he was 19 at New York
Sports Club,
thank you.
Yep.
In Staten Island as a personal trainer, and it progressed from there. He got his first certification through the National Academy of Sports Medicine and continued to work in this field until he got in the fire department of New York, which is also really cool.
FDNY.
Yeah.
Yep, at 28 years old.
77 truck.
Wow.
Cool. At 28 years old in 2005, and then he was with them until 2011. In 2012, he got back into personal training in Morristown, New Jersey, and shortly after opened up his own physical training company with his partner called Excel Precision Training.
Right.
These are really cool names.
Yeah.
We got Deluxe and then Excel Precision Training. All right, and then there we go. They were very successful until the pandemic unfortunately hit, and it hit their business hard. And even though that happened, they decided to shut it down due to COVID. But during this time when he started the Deluxe Fitness and Nutrition online,
Right.
and concentrated solely on nutrition, which is awesome. It was perfect timing and has been growing ever since, which I'm very happy to hear about. He recently just partnered with Dr. David Perna in Livingston, New Jersey, and they teamed up and launched an anti-aging and wellness clinic.
Right.
For those of you with many wrinkles on their face,
We got a miracle for you.
We can get rid of those wrinkles.
yeah, anti-aging and wellness clinic that offers Anthony's nutritional services and will be officially up and running with a monthly membership program in late August, early September.
Yep.
Where he will be the patient care coordinator.
That's right.
Awesome.
I was working all day today. That's why I came right.
That's huge.
I missed the gym for this podcast, so that's
Oh,
important
okay.
to us.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
big.
That's
Ooh,
big.
Making us feel good, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Marcio is here. What's up, Marcio? Welcome. Pam is here with us. Don't forget, guys, to share. Don't forget to like and invite your friends, because, again, this is going to be very, very helpful tonight. So, Anthony, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, this is just a little bit. This is just the tip of the iceberg,
a little
right?
taste.
Yeah, so tell us everything that you're doing. What you said that there was a transition there.
There was a little transition. I wanted to talk about that because I want to give all the glory to God, because there's a scripture in the Bible that I go by. It's none of self, all of Christ, and that's really one of the only reasons why I'm here right now. So it's important that everything that I do is to glorify God, and it's been that way for a while, and the success that I've had is directly related because of my relationship with God. So it's very important to understand that. And so there was a big transition. So as AJ mentioned, I got into the fitness industry at 19, and my father actually put me in my first training routine when I was like 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
We had this like gym set up, and I just kind of fell in love with it. Like I remember my first bench was 95 pounds, and I was just like super obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And it kind of evolved from there, and then, my father put me on the old school workout, and then I kind of just took a liking to all the magazines at the time because there was no internet then.
Yeah.
And then it kind of evolved. So at 19, I decided to get certified because you needed the certification to work as a trainer. So I started working at New York Sports Club. And from there, I kind of built my business. I was always in the gym in some aspect. And I wasn't really focusing on nutrition at the time because there's levels to this as you get into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to kind of refine my craft as a trainer. And then my father goes to me one day, I remember it clear as day, he goes, I was like 25, 26, he's like, so what are you going to do with your life? I'm like, well,
I think I'm ready to do something.
I'm doing something.
I think I got here. Already.
I thought I was doing pretty good, but apparently I wasn't doing that good. So I was like, well, that's a good question. So he goes, well, why don't you take the city test? So my father was a police officer, became a detective, and then a private investigator. So I actually wound up taking the police test and the fire department test at the same time. The police called me first, and my father's like, don't take the cops. Don't take the cops. He's like, wait for the fire department. So obviously you're going to listen to your father. So that transition, so I took the test at 26, and I wound up getting hired. I got sworn in on May 5th. I was 28 years old.
Wow.
And there was a big transition at that time because, you're nervous and you don't know what to expect. Like, I probably was one of the only guys in the academy that had no relatives or no experience with the fire department.
Wow.
And I was probably one of the only Italians.
Wow.
Well, one of the very few.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. It was actually, at the time, besides my wife, the love of my life. My wife is the love of my life now. But at the time, that job was everything to me. Until you're actually doing something and then you realize like what God's plan for you was. Like, I woke up every day and I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, that's how much I loved it.
Yeah.
So I was with the department for 6 years, and a crucial crossroad had actually come up at that point in my life. So as I was mentioning to you guys before, and it's important for everybody to know this, because at some point in the journey, whatever your journey is, you're going to stumble and you're going to fall down, or you're going to make a choice, and you're going to have circumstances of the choices that you make. And I went to work at a company that put out stock and option recommendations just because financially, I wanted to make some more money. I just was kind of getting a top pay, and I just had a vision of where I wanted to go. And long story short, I won't bore you with all the details, I didn't research it as much as I should have. And this is where God's relationship comes into play. And you can either accept the advice that's given to you, or when you're prompted to do something, or you have the ability to contradict it and do your own thing. Yeah. So at the 3-month mark, I was telling you guys, I had this usually for me, the Holy Spirit nudges me in my rib cage. And I'm like, ugh. At the 3-month mark, I'm like, something is off here.
Yeah, there's that feeling on the inside.
Something was off, and I said, I remember speaking briefly about it with my stepmother, and I ignored that feeling. So if you backtrack that timeline, if I would have left at that particular nudge, I probably would still be a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
I ignored it, and I wound up staying there another 3 months. Long story short, like I said, an indictment came down. It was originally the post office, and then a second indictment came down, and I was on that indictment.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I realized things got serious quick.
Wow.
So I wound up getting into a legal battle, and basically everybody in the company was dealing with the prosecutor at the time, and I was forced to resign from the fire department. Basically, they gave me a choice. They said, you could either get fired, which nobody wants to get fired,
exactly,
or you could resign. And I'm brand new to this. I've never been in trouble before. This is a white-collar crime. Like I said, it definitely falls on me for not investigating it enough, but I wound up actually going to jail for 3 months. And I got hit with a $575,000 restitution on top of that.
Oh my God.
So imagine
That's insane.
and on top of it, by the grace of God, I didn't have...
And you're how old then?
So now 33, 34, in that ballpark. By the grace of God, I didn't have a nervous breakdown, because at that point, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
So in a matter of a 2-year time span, I had to resign from the fire department. My father died, and then I had to go to jail for 3 months.
My God.
And then restart my whole life over.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
insane.
So that's what kind of led me back into the
Wow.
fitness industry, because it was really the only thing that I knew at a level that I felt like I could be successful.
Yeah.
And when I got out, I met a good friend of mine, Joe Papalardo, and he said to me, well, why don't you come to Morristown and start personal training? I'm like, you know, I'm a little rusty. I was a little nervous, like
Yeah.
going into the unknown.
Yeah.
And we wound
You're
up...
out of the business for what, 5 years?
Yeah,
now?
I mean, I personal trained a couple people here and there, but it wasn't like a lot. In this business, things are constantly changing.
Yeah.
In any business, to be successful, there's new data that comes out, there's new techniques that come out.
You have to update yourself constantly.
Yeah, so I'm getting like, I felt like I was just getting thrown back into the jungle. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And the gym that we worked at literally had like 3 pieces of equipment, some kettlebells, a couple of mats, and like you had to really like
Be creative.
refine your craft. I wrote workouts out for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Like I literally watched everybody. I said, okay, I got onto YouTube. I looked at everything, and then basically you put your own spin on it. Finally, I started to get comfortable. We take off. We wind up expanding, and then we decide to start our own personal training company called Excel Precision Training. So kind of redefining myself at that point. You know, the fire department to this day still stings, but you realize that God moves you in a different direction. There's another verse that says all things work together for good.
Yeah.
So he'll take the bad and he'll make good out of it.
Right.
So we started to transition. What happens? COVID hits.
Yeah.
So we had the business up and running, I think, right around 2 years. And we took a huge hit because nobody was going to the gym.
Yeah.
Gyms suffered, and we were like, well, what are we going to do? So we wound up shutting the business down.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I had to reinvent myself again. Now, the only way I'm reinventing, like,
Wow.
I'm okay knowledge-wise, but all my knowledge comes from, like, in other words, the Holy Spirit will move you in different directions and sometimes give you words and give you knowledge that you wouldn't have normally.
Right.
So I'm like, what am I going to do now? So I pray a little bit. I'm going, well, I'm going to transition to nutrition because that's what kind of I was doing as part of my personal training, because I had a pretty high hourly rate, and people were like, "Oh, that's kind of expensive." Well, what I would say was, I would do your nutrition for free to justify the amount that I was charging. I was charging $150 an hour.
Wow.
So then that evolved into me basically launching Deluxe Fitness and Nutrition online and focusing solely on lifestyle, but I will do competitors. And I have to be honest with you, I have a lot more lifestyle people than I do competitors. But I'm not against competitors, but lifestyle people, it seems like there's a little bit more of a demand for it.
Yeah.
And it's...
Michael Toscano, that's my guy. He's watching right now.
That's my
Thank you
brother
for
right
being
there.
here, brother.
Mike is my man. So, I actually am in business with Mike too. We do other things too.
Cool.
So
Is he the really tall guy? in the
that's
pictures
Joe.
with
That's
you?
Joe Papalotto.
Oh, okay.
Mike actually owns a consulting business.
Oh, okay.
So when I transitioned, I said I'm going to focus a little bit more on nutrition, but I will do training protocols for people, and I expanded it that way. And then it was a natural progression because during this time, my partner and I started to get into the hormone space. So the hormone and nutrition space go hand in hand, because if someone comes to me and they have a hormone deficiency, I could do everything possible in my power to get them moving in the right direction.
Michelle Rubino, go nay.
That's Mike's fiance. She likes to call me Nay.
Thank you for being here, guys.
I don't know how I got Nay. I guess Nay. So when you look at someone's nutritional plan, if they're hormone deficient, if somebody has an underactive thyroid, I could basically give you blueprints on what to do, but if that thyroid deficiency isn't corrected, none of what I'm giving you is going to work. So I started looking at hormones. I kind of was self-taught in that as far as looking at lab panels. Right. And then I've been doing it long enough where I reached out to, probably I would say 6 months ago, David Perner, who's actually a pain management specialist. He's basically scotch taped every part of my body.
Oh, wow.
Super knowledgeable guy. And then I said, why don't we try and combine forces? Why don't you take a look at this model that I'm thinking about, and we basically started to make it work. So that's kind of how that's what we're. So I'm doing Deluxe Fitness and Nutrition, and we're actually his practice is AIM Health in Livingston, New Jersey. So we're actually going to combine everything, and we'll be up and running. Like I said, I think probably late August, early September.
Awesome.
Something like that. Yeah. So it goes hand in hand in kind of what we do.
That's
in the
really
nutrition
good.
world. Yeah.
Well, I've seen, we're friends for years now, and I follow you and Kristen, and I see the things that you do, and I see a lot of the comments, that people put out there thanking you, and a lot of them are always thanking you for not just for the gym part where you're helping them, but also in the personal area.
Right.
Like you're there as a support, as a friend, 24/7. They can count on you.
Right.
You change their lives, not just physically, but even spiritually. So you really, it seems like you're not just scared. You don't care just about what they look.
Right.
You want them to be strong and healthy and emotionally balanced, spiritually strong in every area. Like to look like you're working spirit, soul, and body right now.
I like to say that every job that I've had, I feel like I plant a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
Spiritually, like I'm not one to impose my will on anybody, but at the same time, like many of my nutrition clients, like that were battling something like a family emergency, I'm always sending them Psalm 91. Or things that have helped me. And I feel like I've strengthened a lot of people that way. So I think the calling is it's like twofold, because I think nutrition is a part of it. I think obviously hormones are a part of it, but I think a little bit of spiritual guidance is part of it as well. But in a way that it's like non-threatening, because a lot of people can be over-aggressive with it.
Yeah.
And I try and just lead by person, like everything that's happened to me. I'm an open book. I share my experiences. That's why I have no problem talking about my past.
Lisa Carbone is watching us.
Oh, Lisa.
Watching us all the way from Ohio.
Lisa, how are you, Lisa? Long time. So I think it's important I'm an open book. I really have no problem talking about anything. So I think when people see that, they can kind of relate, because everybody has an issue in their life that at some point or another they could have used a little bit more help, or they could use a little bit more direction. And I feel like I'm like filling some kind of void there. And I think that goes in hand. Like the nutrition part of this is very psychological. There's a huge emotional connection to food. And I don't even refer to, when somebody comes to me, when they say the word breakfast, I'm like, eliminate that from your vocabulary, because people have an emotional connection to the word. Like, if I said to you breakfast, what's the first thing you think of when you eat breakfast?
My wife.
But I'm saying food-wise, what's the first thing you think of?
Eggs and bacon.
Eggs and bacon,
sausage.
or pancakes, or something like that. So when you come into a nutritional program, you need to break the ideology that because you were taught, because breakfast was the first meal of the day, that you're supposed to have X, Y, and Z in that meal. That really is not the case if you're entering into a program and you want to get results.
So what you're saying is that it's not as important, or what you eat. You cannot get stuck in your head that it's all about.
When I come up with a plan,
you can eat different things, or it's okay to skip it.
You can totally. I'm not big into skipping meals, because you don't want to create gaps in your metabolism. Intermittent fasting protocols are completely different than kind of what I do. I'm not saying there's not a right or a wrong program. You have to do what's best for you.
Right.
Training and nutrition, and you're going to do that by trial and error.
Yeah.
I have a system that works. It's proven. I'm big into eating smaller meals throughout the day. Now that's subject to the individual, because there are some people, like if I come to work with someone that's only eating 2 times a day, there's no way they're going to eat 5 meals a day.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
They're not used to it.
So I have to come down to their level, and
you adjust to the person's lifestyle.
Yeah, like in other words, the book says you're supposed to do this. You can't be so book driven in the field, and that's in any job.
Yes.
You have to meet that person where they are.
Flexibility.
It has to be, because if you tell them to do what you want them to do out of the gates, what I want everybody to do, you're literally setting them up to fail.
Yeah.
So when they come to me and I say, you're no longer going to refer to these meals as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're going to be meals 1 through 3, 1 through 4, 1 through 5, because you're eating for a purpose.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It really changes the mindset on that.
It's a complete mindset shift.
Yeah. Which I think is cool too, with everything you do to help out with the people spiritually or even emotionally, because with the right person, or even at the right moment for the people. It's cool because they would see you as a coach. They're supposed to see you as a coach,
right?
So it really will help them just succeed.
And a coach that's not like a lot of people think like a coach. I'm never judging anybody.
Right.
I just had a girl ask me she had a bad week. She messed some things up. So I collect data over a week. It's a monthly program, but I collect data on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, so you had a bad week. We need to look at what you did. So that way we can look at the bad and we can look at the good and we can put it together.
Right.
I said, I'm not here to judge you.
Yeah.
I said, I'm here to help you.
Not like a high
So
school
they're
football
afraid
coach.
of you. They're afraid of thinking that you're going to get on their case.
Here's the thing with people. You can look at patterns and trends very quickly.
Right.
I can tell over a 2-week period, like what people are doing and what people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. Then you get a little creative. Okay, so if I feel like somebody's dragging, I want you to send me your meals via text every morning.
Yeah.
I want to see how many calories you're burning in a cardio session. Send to me, and that straightens people right up.
Yeah.
So
accountability.
Accountability. So when you come to me, like, there's 4 things that I explain to somebody because I do a phone consultation with everybody, and the first thing is making a commitment to yourself, because before you can make a commitment to me or the program, you have to commit to yourself because you're doing it for yourself.
Yes.
You're not doing it for anybody else, because people will peer pressure you into things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come to grips and say, okay, I'm going to do this for myself. The next thing that you need to do is you need to be able to be consistent with the program. Like anything that you do, you have to be consistent with it.
That's right.
You can't just do it one day.
You're never going to succeed on anything in life if you're not consistent.
Yeah. Consistency is important. And then the next thing, and it's kind of lumped in with consistency, is discipline. You have to exercise discipline. Like you're going to make certain sacrifices. Like maybe you happen to start a plan and it's Thanksgiving. Maybe you don't sloth out on Thanksgiving. Maybe you're a little regulated. Like how important it is for you to change. Like, are you coming to me like, do you have high blood pressure? Are you borderline type 2 diabetic? Or you're just not happy with where you are? It's discipline has to be present in the program. And then communication. Like we have to communicate.
Right.
Like God forbid somebody had a death in the family. If anybody should know about it, it should be me.
Yeah.
If you had a car accident, if you hurt yourself in the gym, if you're stressed out, if you're sick,
lost your job,
coaches got to know.
So
I try and instill that in the people, and then from there, well, especially with lifestyle people, you have to tread lightly because it's very intimidating for people to come into a program that have never followed a program before. Competitors are a little different, but still, everybody has a system that they were used to, and now they have to get used to my system.
Right.
So we try and make it as easy as possible. Easy transition.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good, man. I'm so into it. Well, I wrote a few things here because I want to get to these things here because I'm sure
Mythbusters.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there watching us now, people that will watch us later, that they think the same thing. They because I've been there, he's been there. Some of us are there right now, and I wanted you to help us clarify these things and understand. And one of the things that it's extremely important that I see it all the time. With me, I have to constantly watch my weight. If I just let go, I have a tendency of being overweight. I'm actually overweight right now. I'm in the process right now of losing weight. In 2017, I was never a very heavy guy, but I always had a lot of muscles. Not like you, but
anybody that asks me, like, you just have to wear kids mediums because then you usually look bigger. This is a kid small. Yeah, so it looks big.
Not really. That's probably a double X.
It's actually a double X.
See? So I played sports my whole life. Soccer, I was a soccer player my whole life. I trained to be professional. I almost went professional.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Really close. 4 days before signing my contract. At 19, that's when the Lord spoke to me and said, I was going back to Brazil to sign my contract and play professionally. And the Lord spoke to me not to go because He had a different thing for my future, and I gave my life to. I was already a believer, but then I gave my life completely. I said, "I'll do whatever you want me to do," and then I became a minister, and here I am today. But even playing soccer my whole life, and after stopped playing soccer, I always liked to go in the gym. But I had a tendency because when I stopped completely. Then I realized that I can gain weight and I can be pretty fat if I don't watch it. I never had problems before because I was training so much that I never had to think about eating right. I had to eat for the lifestyle I had.
Right,
I had
because
to eat.
your calorie expenditure was so great.
So
You
great.
had to eat to keep up to it.
Exactly.
Right.
So I never knew that until I was 19. So now I started learning this. And so I work out. I like to work out, and I like to feel like I'm doing not just lifting weights, like I'm doing some type of a sport. I
Okay.
feel like I need to
Like
be
functionality.
Yeah. And but after I got married, I slackened a little bit. I gained weight, and then 2017, I decided to lose weight, and I lost like about 60 pounds in about 7-8 months.
Okay.
And I got really skinny. And then after that, slowly, I started gaining weight again, and I gained about 40 pounds back. Now I'm really strict again, going back to lose weight. Okay. But like I said, the reason why I'm saying this is because with me, and I know a lot of people too, when we start a program, like on our own,
right?
We start losing weight. We lose quickly 4, 5, 6 pounds, 10 pounds,
right.
and then it's almost like you hit a wall,
plateau.
And then a plateau, and you start losing it. And it's almost like you're still eating right, you're still exercising,
right.
But it feels like the scale is not going down anymore. What's going on there?
So you can't put the emphasis on the scale, and I tell people that come into this because they're required to send me weekly check-in pictures. Okay, so the scale is a tool, okay? But it's not the end-all, be-all. And if someone is losing 5, 6, 8 pounds out of the gate, typically it's because either they're severely overweight or they're grossly under eating, which it depends on who the person is. I like to set a realistic goal of 1% of your total body weight because that ensures two things: that it's sustainable fat loss and we're not burning lean tissue in the process. Because you don't want the skill, like if you happen to lose 8 pounds in 1 week, you don't want to sacrifice lean tissue in that rate of loss.
Right.
Because the more lean tissue that you have, the higher your metabolic rate's going to be. So if we're losing 1% of your total body weight, it's a much more realistic goal. Like people like when you do, I'm not bashing other diets, but let's just say somebody does Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. It's brought a lot of success to people, but it's a lot more to do with the quality of food that you're eating, in my opinion. Does calories in and calories out matter? It does, but there's a point system on Weight Watchers. So if you're at the end of the day, let's just say, from the little that I do know about their system, and you have 4 points left, and a brownie fits that 4 points, I don't agree with eating that brownie before you go to sleep for many different reasons, especially an insulin spike. Yeah. So there's many different ways to lose weight, but you don't want to lose it too fast because you run the risk of rebounding. So if you're losing weight and you're not understanding why you're losing it, most of the time you're going to get frustrated, you're going to stop, and then you're going to go back. You're going to
even more.
You're going to run a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
There's a cycle to this. So people want it. They want it now, and they want it tomorrow. It just doesn't work.
Quick results.
You didn't get out of shape overnight. You're certainly not going to get in shape overnight. Yeah. And when people come to me, they're like, "What's a realistic timeline to work with me?" I'm like, depending on where you are and what your hormones look like and what your BMI is. Not that I don't measure BMI, but look, I could tell what somebody's body fat percentage is. Realistically, it's going to take maybe 12 weeks to get to where you want to be, at the bare minimum, depending on what you're at. So it's not a 4-week program, and then we're like, I just magically snap my fingers and you're in shape.
So that 1% that you said, it's in what's the time period for that?
So every week.
Okay.
So I'll look at this, like in other words, I use the scale very briefly, I look at it very quickly, just to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. But I look at the pictures because every 4 weeks I show progress.
Yeah, I see that you post pictures.
So
you don't show numbers, you show pictures.
Pictures, and a good way is, how do you feel? How do you feel when you look in the mirror, and how do your clothes fit?
Yeah.
Those are better indicators than the scale, because if you have someone that doesn't need to lose a lot of weight, but they're recomping their body composition, I'll take that all day, because if I could train lean tissue, if I could lower body fat and raise lean tissue, and the body weight stays the same, but you look completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that all day.
But also, the thing is that with the scale that may be misleading a little bit is because that's just an example. 10 pounds of fat, 10 pounds of muscle.
Right.
So like they're both 10 pounds.
It's both 10 pounds.
But
it looks very different. When you see two people that weigh the exact same weight, but one's in shape and one's out of shape.
Yeah.
They're the exact same weight.
Exactly.
But they have
Exactly.
their body composition is very different. So that's why training is a big part of the program.
Yeah.
And people that are injured, I think the first steps when someone comes into the program, you have to get your food right. You have to come up with a good prepping system. That seems to be the biggest issue with a lot of people. They don't know how to prep their food
Yeah.
the right way. And then from there, if for some reason you can't enter into a strength training program, at the bare minimum, you have to start to do some type of cardiovascular training. Whether it's low impact, if you have knee issues, if you have back issues, you can do a recumbent bike, you can do a hand bike. There's a lot of different things that you do because the name of the game is calorie expenditure. We know that 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to burn as many calories as we can through cardiovascular training, being in a caloric deficit, and then there's something else that's called NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That would be like you doing laundry or walking the dog or going on a hike or literally just sitting here and flaring your arms up in the air. You're burning calories.
Yeah.
So the more active you are, the more calories you're going to burn.
Yeah, makes sense.
Really good.
Yeah. That's where people miss it.
Another one. People say all the time, exercise takes too much time. You have to go to the gym in order to do it right, and I don't have the time.
That's a loaded question because
Yeah.
everybody does have a busy schedule. But again, if you come back to the 4 rules or at least components to the program, did you make a commitment to yourself? Did you really commit to yourself?
Right.
Are you being consistent? Are you being consistent with your ability to try and make time to go to the gym? Are you being disciplined? Discipline doesn't mean not eating it does mean not eating something, but it also means getting your ass to the gym.
And you can also work out from home.
I have
Yeah.
many people that I give an at-home workout.
Yeah.
You have to, this comes down to looking at the schedule and say, when am I going to food prep? When am I going to work out? When am I going to go to bed? And when am I going to take care of all my other responsibilities like my family and everything? This is not an easy fix. Like when somebody comes into the program, it's going to take you 2 to 3 weeks to develop a new habit. It takes 3 weeks to develop a habit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're developing a new habit, but this habit is to be a better version of yourself mentally and physically.
Yeah, and you got to prioritize a lot too.
You do. So when people say, I don't have the time, you have to make the time.
Yeah.
So if it means that you have to get up a little bit
earlier.
earlier,
or
go to bed a little bit later,
Yeah.
or just say, I only have 15 minutes midday to do something. Doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
Even if it's if you can't do cardio or you don't have a treadmill and you want to walk around the block,
Walk around a parking lot.
it doesn't matter. I've worked around.
I've seen people do that.
Walk around in a circle.
every single day.
Walk up and down these stairs 15 times.
Yeah, well,
So
crazy. Yeah.
the excuses are you hear a lot of different excuses,
Yeah.
and you can't get mad at the excuses because a lot of people are just they're programmed to make excuses.
Make excuses.
So when you come into a program as a coach, you can't take things personally, and that's something that I learned very quickly because, like, I know you want to get in shape, but why do I want you to be in shape more than you want to be in
Exactly.
shape?
Yeah.
So that's where you have to find that
That
kind
balance,
of that
yeah.
medium, and you have to kind of lead people and then let them do their own thing. So
Right.
it's the bottom line is that you have to make time. There can be no excuses.
Exactly. That's right. True or false? Coffee with butter burns fat.
The bulletproof coffee. So here's the thing with the bulletproof coffee. Like, you have to be in a state of ketosis in order for this to work because there's science behind it. So there's 3 ketones that basically help you burn fat. So you have acetoacetate, beta-hydroxybutyrate, and acetone. These are the ketones that work when your body's in ketosis because there's no carbs available.
Right.
If you're eating carbs and then one day you wake up, you're like, I'm going to have a bulletproof coffee, and you think you're going to be shredded, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not how it works. Does it work when you're in ketosis? Yes, it does. Well, that particular brand, it's supposed to activate these ketones. I've never used it, but in theory it could.
So it cannot be just any regular black coffee that you melt butter in it.
So this bulletproof is supposed to be some type of like super concoction. I don't exactly know behind it, but a lot of people will put in what is the lactose-free butter? I can't think of this right now. Ghee, because it's stripped of lactose. It's kind of the same principle, but again, all of your energy sources when you're in ketosis are coming from fat because you're only eating protein, veggies that are fibrous and that don't count towards your total carb intake for the day, and then the rest of it is eating. Truly, a ketosis diet is 60% of calories coming from fat.
Yeah.
It's very. But the thing with ketosis is there's a time and a place, and I don't. Everything works if you try it.
If you do right.
Yeah. So I think that you have to be.
My wife said I need that coffee.
You have to be mindful because a lot of people do dirty keto. So dirty keto is eating bacon and cheese, which I highly do not recommend.
No good.
No, so
You get tired of that.
to answer your question, it can if you're in a state of ketosis.
All right. Number 2, the more you sweat when working out, the better.
So
True or false on that?
true, because there's 3 ways that your body releases fat. So we release it through carbon dioxide and sweat and saliva.
My wife said dirty keto here.
So sweating, obviously, through your dermal layer, through urine, and through stool. Right. So the more that you sweat, the more fat you will burn. But not just sitting in a sauna. There has to be activity behind it. Yeah. So like if you go and just sit out in the sun and you're sweating, you're not really burning fat.
Because you're sitting there.
It has to be. It has to be activated.
Another one. Exercise needs to hurt to bring results. In other words, no pain, no gain. True or false?
I don't want to say you're not going to be in pain, because if you've never trained or you had a huge layoff,
you're going to
be sore. Yeah. So DLMS is delayed onset muscle soreness. It usually happens 48 hours after you train. Right. So you will be in pain, but people that have been training consistently,
you're not supposed to be in pain all the time, are you?
No, not to the point where you can't sit on the toilet.
But you should feel the muscle.
But you should, if you've trained the right way and you broke down muscle fibers. Yeah. You should feel a little sore. Like I'm sore after my training sessions, but I recover pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So there has to be a level of
there's difference.
There's a pain threshold.
Soreness and injury.
There's a pain threshold.
Yeah.
Will a lifestyle person maybe train as hard as a competitor? Probably not. Yeah. But it's all relative to their goals.
Right.
So I would say there's got to be a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you got to get to results.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
This one is good. Strength training is only for bodybuilders.
Negative. False. Absolutely false. As a matter of fact, I encourage my people to... So the trifecta is food, cardio, and strength training. Mm-hmm. So the more lean tissue that you can hold, the higher your metabolic rate is going to be. Right. So that's why when we get back to the losing 1% of your total body weight, I don't want you to lose 8 pounds, because I don't want 3 pounds of it to be lean tissue. Because if you sacrifice lean tissue on the way down, it's going to actually slow your metabolism down. So it would benefit somebody to go to the gym at least 2 or 3 times a week, maybe do a full body circuit, and then do legs in order to activate muscle fibers, so that way you can preserve lean tissue while you're burning all these other calories in order to lose body fat.
Yeah. Okay. Open a little parenthesis here, and then we'll go back to this, because I just remembered this. What do you think about HIIT training?
Okay.
And also, what's the other one that's very popular there that people do, like lifting tires and going crazy?
So like
like CrossFit.
CrossFit. Okay.
So what do you think about
so
those?
I think if that's your thing and you like doing that, I think it's totally fine. But
I don't like it.
I would say a large. There's
a
crazy amount of people that, and this could be anybody, but I know a lot of CrossFitters that have suffered from rhabdomyolysis. So that's basically the breaking down of your muscle tissue that actually gets into your muscle stream, because they're working so hard for so long. There's no recovery.
I did it 3 months and I hated it.
I think it's not my cup of tea, but a lot of people do like it. Yeah. So I think depending on what your goals are, that could be something for you. Mm-hmm. As far as the HIIT part of that, they're doing a combination of HIIT, because typically in those CrossFit workouts, they're doing high explosive movements and then they're sprinting right afterwards.
Yeah.
I do like HIIT, but for short periods. So when I give somebody a HIIT program, it has an interval. So some of my lifestyle people, if I give them a program and so you have low intensity steady state, and then you have high intensity interval training. So LISS and HIIT. So I'll do a combination of like 2 minutes at low intensity steady state, where you keep your heart rate between 130 and 135, and then a minute a HIIT where you get it up into like the 150 to 155 range, and then come back down. If you do an extended period of HIIT, you do run the risk of burning through tissue.
Oh, wow.
Because if you're at above 75% of your max heart rate, and that's different for everybody, you run the risk of burning up lean tissue. So I'm not a fan for extended periods of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like a short burst, maybe a 9 or 10 minute interval, I'm fine with that.
Oh wow, okay.
Cool.
So it doesn't really have to be like half hour.
No,
For
and
it to
I'll
be
usually,
effective.
if someone's at a plateau, I'll put a hit at the beginning of their low intensity steady state. So if I have somebody do 45 minutes, I may have them do 3 different variations. A lot of people at home, as a matter of fact, they could do burpees, mountain climbers, jumping jacks, whatever it is. They don't even need a piece of equipment.
Exactly.
3 rounds, 10 minutes, take a little bit of a break, and then do 35 minutes of low intensity steady
Gotcha.
state. So we preserve tissue that way a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha,
Wow.
gotcha.
That's crazy.
Another one. I don't want muscle, so I just do cardio to lose weight. True or false?
So, I think when people say that, they don't want to be muscular like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
The reality of the situation is when you lose body fat, you're going to be naturally muscular. Even if like someone didn't train, we're very muscular by design.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we lose body fat, if that's what your goal is, even if you didn't train, you're going to wind up seeing your delts or your biceps or your legs or your glutes a little bit better. Now, to say that you don't want to strength train would be a contradiction of like getting in shape, because your calories are going to dictate if you're going to get big or not.
Yeah.
When someone's in a caloric deficit, they're not getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you're in a surplus, because food dictates everything.
Yeah.
So if I have somebody in a caloric deficit that's training, all we're doing is increasing muscularity, which is what you want to do in reality. And there's really no such thing as getting tone. You're either strength training or you're not strength training.
Okay.
Because like the tone thing came around like, I don't know, a while ago. Like you can't tone a muscle. Like you're either training the muscle or you're not training the muscle.
Yeah.
Losing body fat is the name of the game.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think that there has to be a healthy balance of everything. I think you need
Yeah.
to, your food, I think your training and your cardio go hand in hand. But if there are people that are dead against training, you're going to wind up being muscular if you lose body fat,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
But I like that you said that we're all muscular by design, because that means there's hope for me somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, so I like this one. I worked out today so I can eat unhealthy. Is that
So this is a big thing.
regain.
People track their calories during the week, and then on the weekends when they blow it and they come back and they gain weight, they're like, "Well, I ate good all week," and they don't factor in alcohol, and they don't factor in the cheat meals that they had all weekend.
Yeah.
So you're never going to do enough to work out to get past 3 slices of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of calories in a cheat meal, you'd have to
It's
work
so
out.
much.
You'd have to work out for a day.
Yeah.
Straight.
You
Exactly.
can't outwork your diet.
So that
Exactly.
you can never you can't outwork or out cardio.
There's a burger
bad
out there
food
that's
chases.
2,000 calories.
I could eat
Yeah.
3,000 calories in one cheat meal.
Yeah,
Two slices of
yeah.
cheese.
You know how long I'd have to work out to try and
3,000. That's
if
crazy.
I went to Shake, I'm a big Shake Shack guy.
Yeah, yeah.
If I went to Shake Shack and I did what I normally do,
5,000 calories.
nah, I would say 3,500 calories.
That's a
Easy,
lot. Yeah,
easy.
like a milkshake, fries,
Oh,
big
man.
burger.
Yeah, I'm eating what I eat normally in a day in one sitting.
Right.
Yeah.
On top of that, so
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't
yeah,
work,
Yeah,
no.
You're like cheating and
Yeah.
lying to yourself.
I believe that there's a time and a place for a cheat meal, especially for a lifestyle person, because it gives them something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But in the first 4 weeks of the program, to establish structure and regimen, no cheat meals and no booze for 4 weeks, and that's hard enough.
That was my question. How often?
Yeah. So-
Like the person should be allowed to have a bad
So
day.
I like to, depending on how they're progressing, I like to give them a cheat meal once a week. And if someone's disciplined, I'll allow alcohol with the cheat meal.
cheat meal, not a cheat day.
Never a cheat day. You'll totally ruin everything that you did leading up to the week.
Really
especially,
important. Really important. Because
especially-
I've seen people say, it's like it's my cheat day, and then that whole day.
My father, before I actually learned everything, convinced me. He's like, "Oh, Sunday's gonna be a cheat day." I'm like, "This is great." Like I remember being young. I'm like, "I'm not gonna get fat. This is great."
Yeah.
And then you realize that the amount of calories that you consume in one day. First of all, you're not eating consistently, and a cheat day usually is usually a huge breakfast,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of a lunch, and then you're ordering like you've never ate before.
Yeah.
Or you go into the electric chair.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're creating voids. Like if we get back to the structure of the program, if I'm eating small meals every day, and then I take these huge gaps out, and I'm eating bigger gaps throughout the day, you kind of throw a monkey wrench in your metabolism, especially if your metabolism isn't where it should be. And I got news for you. If you haven't done a program in a while, it's going to take about 6 to 8 weeks to regulate metabolism.
Man. So no cheat meal or day until.
No, I would say after 4 weeks for a lifestyle plan, I'll give somebody a cheat meal and then.
C just said that your father did a diet where he could eat whatever he wanted in an hour 3 times a day.
Yeah, my father knew it all. Yeah.
He was driving all over the city eating as much as he could.
Yeah. He's like, this is fine because it's my cheat day. He's like, I'm going to eat 2 pounds of brown rice pasta. We'll be fine. It's like 400 grams of carbs.
This is the best laugh. Hilarious. Another one is healthier foods are more expensive, so I just don't.
Absolutely. Or eating organic is the best. You want to avoid fillers in your food. Like when you look at a nutrition label, if you get past 10 ingredients, then you're talking about a lot of fillers. So if you have the means, organic is the way to go. If you're not there to do it completely, I would say at least natural and antibiotic free.
Right.
But just because of everything that they're doing to increase the volume of the food, like if they're like if you look at some of the chickens that aren't antibiotic or steroid free, they are massive. How do you think they got massive? Because they're being injected with fillers and things like that. So
it's just chicken wings this big.
Yeah,
what
it's
kind
just
of
not
chicken
healthy.
is
So
that?
if I highly recommend if you can go organic, that's definitely the way to go. At the bare minimum, natural. And just be mindful of looking at ingredient labels. Like if I look at an ingredient label, even if you don't want to count, and you look at something like this, if you see something like this, it's got a lot of fillers in it.
Yeah. Like another one that's it actually will go just along with what you just said. Foods labeled low fat or reduced fat are always a healthy choice.
Negative, because they're very deceiving. And I'm going to give you an example on condiments especially, because a lot of people go condiment crazy. There's a lot of calories in there. Ketchup. What is ketchup made with? Tomatoes.
Yeah.
When you have a ketchup that says sugar-free, it can say sugar-free because there's no added sugar. There's sugar in there.
Right.
But they can say 0 on the label. And I'll give you one better. Splenda and stevia.
Really?
Even though they're substitutes, there's dextrose in them. So
what is that?
Dextrose is it's a maltodextrin. It's a carb filler because the Splenda and the stevia grain is so small.
Yeah.
They have to bind it with something.
Okay.
So they bind it with dextrose because it's cheap.
Uh-huh.
So you have to be very careful because I've had a lot of people that use 20 packets of stevia or 20 packets of Splenda throughout the day.
Thinking they're doing
That's
a healthy
20
thing.
extra carbs, and it's more for competitors. If that competitor is on a low-carb diet, 20 grams of carbs is going to impact their calories. So, people have bet that it causes Alzheimer's. Like, there's no evidence that none of these things do that. Or it spikes insulin, but there are carbs in there. And there is sugar in there. There's actually a product called Stevia Balance. I just found this out. That has inulin fiber. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has no carbs and no sugar.
Wow.
So that's probably the best thing to have. But again, everything is in moderation. Your average person
like that moderation.
Your average person is not going to go out and buy Stevia Balance.
Yeah.
Like a nut job like me is gonna. But your average person just has to do everything in moderation. I give my people, you want to have a Diet Snapple, you want to have a Diet Coke at night, have it in moderation.
Yeah.
Like everything.
It has to have a balance.
You have to have a balance. That's why the cheat meal is important, because it gives you something to look forward to, like date night with your wife or your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Going out, enjoying some
So
appetizers.
it doesn't feel like you're
right.
missing on
That doesn't
so
mean
much.
that you
Like,
gorge
you're not
yourself so
enjoying
that way
it.
your spouse has to wheel you out to the car in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can do an appetizer, you can do an entree, and you can do a dessert without making yourself feel disgusting, and you can maybe have 1 or 2 drinks if that's what you like to do,
Right.
and not completely derail yourself. Again, you have to exercise discipline even with a cheat meal.
So for those that like to drink, you say that alcohol is a big enemy.
So here's the thing: people are like, oh, there's no carbs in Tito. The way that your body converts alcohol, there's a glucose conversion in there. And alcohol tends to make people insulin resistant, and you don't want to be insulin resistant in the beginning of a program, because what that means, a lot of people don't know what the term insulin resistant means. That means that when you consume any type of glucose, whether it's from a carbohydrate or from alcohol, your body will basically break it down as glucose.
Yeah.
Then your pancreas releases insulin. So now you have this insulin traveling to the glucose, and for whatever reason, it can't push the glucose into the cell. So if that glucose doesn't get utilized, now you have free-floating glucose in your bloodstream, and glucose becomes stored fat. So sugar is the culprit in the big picture. Don't get me wrong. If you were eating saturated fat all day and you were doing a dirty keto and eating cheese and bacon with every meal, you're definitely going to have an issue.
Yeah.
Especially with your pancreatic enzymes like your lipase.
Yeah.
But sugar is the culprit. So you have to be mindful of how much glucose you're consuming, and if you're insulin resistant, we got to get you to be insulin sensitive.
Wow.
Well, this one, I'm guilty. This I've said this so many times. Starving myself is the best way to lose weight. People, you say, don't do that, but I always found that for me, what really worked is when I really...
Like when you go hardcore, you just don't eat.
Yeah.
So it's an intermittent fasting protocol, and I think it's good to do that once in a while for detox purposes.
Okay.
But your body has something called the BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. That's the amount of calories that you need to survive, to blink your eyes, for your heart to beat. And a lot of people try and eat it in a small window. What happens is you eat it in a small window and then you're starving the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And your workouts could suffer. A lot of people do this. They train faster, which I don't believe in, but some people do it because they're acclimated to doing it. So starving yourself is not the right way to go about it, because you need a certain amount of nutrients from your food. You need macronutrients and you need micronutrients. And above and beyond that, a lot of people don't realize you do need a certain amount of supplements. If you took nothing else, you need a good quality multivitamin for trace metals and minerals. You need omega-3 and 6 because your body doesn't produce that. So you can get that from other foods like salmon and things like that, but taking a quality omega-3, 6 would definitely help. And you need a certain amount of fiber. That's the most underrated supplement on the market.
Wow.
Because fiber helps insulin sensitivity, and more importantly, it prevents colon cancer, and it keeps everything moving. Because people that get constipated in a plan, if you're constipated, you're not releasing... You're not getting rid of fat because if you're getting backed up. So that's one of my questions on like how's your digestion, and I need to know immediately if you're constipated.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are the three must-haves in my opinion, and maybe a whey isolate if someone doesn't have the time to make all the meals.
Right.
So what do you think about the overnight fasting? Like the people will eat around 5, 6 and not eat until like 10 a.m. or midday the next day.
I mean, we normally do. So your body doesn't know what time it is. So the rule, I don't know where the rule came from. Like you can't eat past 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Your body has no idea what time it is. I literally eat until an hour before bed because I'm up.
Look at that.
And as long I usually eat every 3 hours, so your body needs fuel the entire time. Now, if you wanted to cut that down, just because maybe you have acid reflux or you have GI issues, that's a different story. But most of us will fast at some point overnight. Like when I'm done eating and I go to bed at 11 or 12 at night, I'm not eating again until I usually wake up. Meal one is like between 9:30 and 10 o'clock for me, depending on my schedule. So we are all fasting to a certain point. But when I'm in prep sometimes, I get up and I'm hungry. I have a shake pre-made in the fridge. I'll slam that and then go back to sleep.
Wow.
Oh,
So there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Okay.
A lot of people are afraid because they think that it's going to cause like some kind of catastrophic like imbalance in your body. As long as it's clean,
yeah.
you'll be fine.
Cool.
Jeez.
Fat makes you fat.
Yes and no. Sugar is probably more of the culprit, as I mentioned before. But if you don't know where your fat macro should be, and typically what I do is when I design a plan for somebody, I do 0.5 gram of fat per pound of body weight. Now, again, it's subject to change per the individual. So if I feel like somebody can't handle that, I may lower it. But we want mono unsaturated fats. We don't want heavy saturated fats. So I don't want bacon. I don't want cheese. I keep going back to it because a lot of people...
Have you been to a Brazilian barbecue?
No, but I want to go.
Okay, we can't do that. Well, next time we go to New York...
What's it called?
Rodizio.
Yes.
When we go to New York at that church, there's a great one. Because I'm asking because Brazilians have the habit of having one piece of steak. It's like top sirloin. It's called picanha. And the big taste on it is the fat that comes with it.
I want to eat it so bad.
Is it really bad to eat that?
Yes, probably. But just the way they prepare it. But like getting back to
they grill it. They only do like those big rock salt.
They don't put any butter or oil on it?
No, just salt.
Oh, if it's grilled, that's fine.
Just grill and salt.
So you're going to get the fat for, like, in other words, when I put red meat on a plan, I don't put any added fat to it. So to get back to you about fat making you fat, you need a certain amount of fat for enzyme conversions, for hormones, for fat-soluble vitamins. So you do need a certain amount of fat. the source of the fat is very important.
Okay.
Monounsaturated fats.
All right. Makes me
Nuts,
feel much better.
avocado,
Is it?
olive oil. If you can get real olive oil, it's heavily faked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Last one. It doesn't matter what you eat as long as you count calories.
If you were to listen to Lane Norton, who is a guy that I follow and respect, he actually is the calorie in, calorie out king. I would be up for debate with that because I feel like the quality of the food is more important than the number value of the food. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to figure out what your current caloric needs are, and that's very tough to do, depending on your age, your activity level, things like that. Once we figure out what your caloric needs is, it's simple math. We deduct 500 calories off of that number, and then from there you see how you progress. So you can make an argument that calories in, calories out helps, but getting back to like if you were to eat McDonald's to fill your calories, will you lose weight? Probably. Will you have some other health complications with it? Most likely.
Yeah.
Like, will your triglycerides go up? Will your lipids go up? Most likely. So I think that I think there has to be a little bit of a balance with that.
Gotcha.
But calories in, calories out is a big part of it.
So what's the amount of time that you think is good for working out? Like I'm talking about obviously just a regular person. How much cardio should you be doing? How much weight should you be lifting?
So typically, like,
if you just want to be in shape, you want to drop a few pounds and just be healthy.
If you have the ability to go to the gym at the bare minimum, if you're a beginner, 3 to 4 times a week, and train for upwards of 45 to 60 minutes, I think that's a good time. A lot of people make the mistake of overtraining, so you don't want to do that. And then cardio can be anywhere from 25 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on what your goal is. So the thing with cardio and strength training is you have to be focused on each one individually because one is anaerobic, one is aerobic, but a lot of people dog their cardio. And I'll give you the biggest no-no. When you decide to enter into this journey, you never do cardio before you strength train.
Oh, I always did it before.
A lot of people make the mistake because if you go and do cardio before you strength train, you're literally depleting glycogen stores. Well, I don't want to say, if you're doing low intensity steady state cardio, you're not using carbohydrates as a fuel source, but you're depleting yourself. And then you're going into a training session where you need fuel, specifically carbohydrates. And then you have nothing to fuel that workout. And then what happens, your body goes catabolic. So that means that muscle tissue breaks down to fuel itself. And if I had the choice, if we reverse it and we do it the right way, if you're going to train first and then do cardio, I think you should have a little something an hour before you train, even if it's a protein shake, just so you don't go into the training session on an empty stomach. Because fueling the workout, you'll always have a better workout because you want the presence of glycogen in your muscles to have a better workout. Yeah. If you're working out, and we refer to it as the pump, like if you're doing biceps and you don't have any blood flow or you don't have any pump, then something is going. Either your execution or your technique are off, or you didn't fuel yourself the right way.
Yeah. I've had experiences that I had a bad day, didn't eat right, and went to the gym and worked out normal as if I had like stored food in my stomach before, and like throughout like 30-40 minutes later, I'm like, please give me some sugar. Like I'm literally.
Well, you were going hypoglycemic, so
I want to get into a vending machine and live in there.
If someone couldn't get anything right and they were struggling with things, at the bare minimum, the meal before you train and the meal after you train should be on point, and it should be within a certain amount of time. Like they call it the anabolic window. Again, this is up for debate. But if you're brand new to this, just to create a good habit, you want to have something 60 minutes before you train, so that way there's not a giant mess of food because you don't want blood in your stomach to digest because you want it to go to the body part that you're training. And then right after that, I would say within 60 to 75 minutes after your training or training and cardio, you consume either a protein shake or a meal, so that way you don't go hypoglycemic and you restore and you can start the repairing process. Because in order for you to change, you have to repair the muscles that you just broke down. And a lot of people think, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm not going to eat, and then we're going to call it a day. Right. You're missing out the recovery factor, which also comes with sleep and hydration. A lot of people don't realize. Like if you're not hydrated, people don't be afraid of salt. Salt is a very big it's a very big electrolyte. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize that. There's no correlation like between salt and somebody gaining body fat. Like if you are not getting enough sodium, your body will release a hormone called aldosterone from your adrenal glands, and then what happens is it starts hoarding water and electrolytes. You can actually gain weight even if you're in a deficit. So it's part of your electrolyte balance. So drinking water is very important. Electrolytes, getting enough sleep. Like if you're getting 3-4 hours of sleep, it's definitely going to hurt your progress.
Yeah, I've
Big
seen
time.
that. Yeah, I've had times like where life was just tough and I wasn't sleeping well, and I could see myself bloated, my face swollen.
Because your body has these checks and balances, and they're like, whoa, we don't have enough water, we don't have enough electrolytes, we're going to start saving this, and we don't have enough food because he ate 12 hours ago, and now he just went to the gym and did cardio first, and then trained.
And then I remember when I finally got a really nice night, and I relaxed I looked like all the swelling went away. I looked better. I felt better immediately.
Yeah, you feel like $1 million.
Yeah, like
your cognitive function.
Yeah.
Getting a REM sleep is so important for your metabolism, just for your function on a daily basis. When I don't get enough sleep, like me trying to do a meal plan, it's like I can't even think straight.
Yeah.
Sleep is more important than...
It's one of the most underrated things in the program.
Yeah.
The first question I asked when somebody didn't lose weight in the week, there's 2 questions that I asked. Did you sleep and did you poop? Those are the questions every week. And then I ask, how was your hydration? Because water intake is a big part of it. A lot of people have a problem, I noticed, getting water in because people don't like to drink water for some reason.
I love drinking water.
So I recommend doing a little bit of Crystal Light or anything that flavors the water, whatever you need to do to get it down, because not drinking enough water will inhibit your body's ability to burn fat.
I drink at least 2.5 liters, 3 liters a day.
That's great.
At least.
I have a lot of people that have struggled just to get 64 ounces. So I aim for a gallon. There's no set amount, but I find a gallon seems to be a good number. And then if somebody's not there, again, let's set reasonable goals. Let's start at 64 and set an alarm on your phone and say, okay, I have to drink at this time to make sure, because I like people to drink water in between their meals so they don't feel full.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that have never used a structured program, I get a lot of people saying, this is a lot of food and it's nowhere near what they should be eating because I lowballed all their food. They're just used to eating like going to Dunkin' Donuts, having a wrap for breakfast with a cup of coffee, and then not eating all day, and then getting home and maybe having a little something to eat, and maybe for the whole day they had like 900 calories, and they're just programmed. So you have to break that pattern, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's you have to have time and patience. But again, coming back to the rules, commitment, consistency, discipline, and communication. If you can do that, then coach can help you. If you don't, it's like you're running on the hamster wheel.
Exactly.
It's not as simple as some people think. Because now, you just mentioning that salt is an electrolyte is big.
Yeah.
And most people just, they all they think about is the eating and the working out, and they don't think about the science behind it.
Right. There is science behind everything that we do, and that's something that I learned as I progressed, because my first certification was with Precision Nutrition, and they get behind the science. They actually get behind the psychological component of it, but there is science behind everything that we do. That's why you have to try and explain to people that there's a reason why I have you doing this. It's not just because I want you to drink water for the sake of drinking water. Like literally, it has an impact on a physiological impact on your body.
Well, when I lost weight, 2017, that I lost 60 pounds, my wife actually is the one who made me, like, you gotta drink because, she's a PA, she's in nephrology, like, she's kidney disease. So, like, make sure you drink water. So, and I started drinking a lot of water, and that's when I started losing a lot of weight. You know, it was a conjunction of a lot of things.
It's a lot of different variables coming together. It's like you're taking the pieces of the puzzle and you're basically putting them together.
Yeah, and I noticed that what made me start, like, getting the water down easily is, like, taking big.
I'm the same way. I'd rather do big gulps.
Sips. Yeah, like, boom. Because, and then, like, I would have half of the bottle in. And then, like, that's it.
In the morning, every time when I get up, this is something that I do just to keep me regulated. Room temperature, I chug one of these.
I always do
with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and about 2 ounces of lemon juice. Helps digestion. Apple cider vinegar creates a little bit more of an alkaline environment in your body, and it helps regulate.
We do not in the morning, but we do the gummies, the apple cider.
Oh, okay.
Gummies.
The gummies are good. They're actually really good.
Yeah. We have it every after dinner. We'd take 1 or 2.
It's a big part. So digestion is a big part of the program too. Like, a lot of people have horrible digestion. They don't go to the bathroom, and when they do, not to sound disgusting, it
Yeah.
doesn't look the way that it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
Wow.
People have a lot of acid reflux, and that's part of the program too, like correcting all of that. Because if you don't absorb nutrients, you're not going to get the benefit of the food, and you're kind of doing things like not in an optimal way. Everything that I try and do with people, we want to be optimal in everything that we do. So if it takes a little bit longer for you to be optimal, then it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's just not going to happen in 4
So
weeks.
what do you think is a healthy amount of times to use the bathroom for the average person?
Oh my God! My system. I tell people all the time. I go 3 times within 90 minutes.
What?
Oh my God.
3 times within 90. And anybody that's watching, all my friends know that this to be true. So for the whole day, I go 5 to 6. That's not normal.
Right.
1 to 2 times a day is normal. Like usually when people get up, and then maybe
Yeah.
one other time. That's completely normal.
Right.
Going once every other day is not normal.
Not normal.
It's not
Yeah.
normal.
Has to be at least once a day.
Once a day, because you're literally releasing body fat through your stool, through your urine, and through your sweat glands, and through your
Wow.
carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
So a big part of that is through stool. So that's why the fiber is very important, because a lot of people don't get enough fiber.
Yeah.
So I'm with a company called Species Nutrition, and I actually switched over to them because, in my opinion, I feel like they have the best supplements on the market because they're properly dosed. And this Fiberlize supplement actually has 9 grams of soluble fiber. So it's way more than a Benefiber or Metamucil. So since I started taking it, what fiber supplements do, the psyllium basically expands in your colon, because your colon is an involuntary muscle. So you need something basically to shake it up a little bit. So this Fiberlize is a very high grade psyllium. It has a very high swell rate. So when I take it in the morning, it's like clockwork.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the people that have never taken it before, I have to make them take a half a scoop while they start.
Wow.
For like 10 or 14 days. It's that potent.
Wow.
Oh my
Powerful.
God.
Yeah.
What's the name again?
It's called, the company is Species Nutrition, and they make a ton of products, but the product is called Fiberlize. And my code is DELL25, DELL25.
Del25. Come on, use that.
Species Nutrition.
Yeah, awesome.
My wife thinks I go enough every day, so I might not do that if I ever go into the.
I know, thank God. In this house, we don't have any issues with that.
Nobody
thank
likes
God.
to talk about it, but it's a big part of the
It's a
program.
big, yeah,
big
it's
part of the
very
program.
important, yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And a lot of people suffer in silence because they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They don't get help, and
Yeah.
they're, I've heard some bad stories about that.
Oh, me
yeah.
too.
Yeah. So, well, when we announced that you're going to be here,
Yeah.
there were some people that wanted to send you a message.
No
So,
way.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
He's gonna read some people wrote some things,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure you're gonna recognize them.
I hope I don't tear up right now.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
All right, so we got a message from Lou P. You recognize the name?
Yeah,
Lou?
my client.
Lou P.
Yeah.
Says here.
That's him right here.
There you go.
Louis, what's up? Is he on now?
I don't know if he's on, but
Oh.
he sent us this picture.
Lou is my longtime friend, and he's been with me for, I think, over 2 years now, and he is a machine. He's a lifestyle person. He doesn't even compete.
Wow. He looks great. Yeah.
Great.
So what did he say?
So Lou says, I have been friends with Anthony for over 20 years. In March of 2020, I reached out to him to see if he was willing to take me on as a client. Since that day, my life changed. My body has done a complete 180 since starting with
He's
Ant.
the best.
As of today, I'm in the best shape of my life. Even though this is a joint venture, I would never be where I am today without him.
Wow.
Lou is good people.
Man, I'll never be
That's
where I
great.
am without
Thank
him.
you, Lou. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Who
Got
else?
another one here. That is from Philip Badaglino.
Oh, Philly Badaglino.
There is a picture, you guys.
Oh, Philly's my boy.
Yeah.
He's a great.
So
He loves the Lord.
Oh yeah.
Big
yeah.
time. Yeah.
We got a long message from him, but
Oh,
okay.
so hopefully you don't cry. But here we go. It says, I first met Anthony at church roughly 10 years ago through a mutual friend. My first impression, of course, was look at the size of this guy. Anthony was the epitome of not judging a book by its cover. What is on the inside of him does not match does not match up with his intimidating physique. On the inside of those big, strong, hard muscles is a man with a soft, kind heart that will do anything for his friends. As we started to get to know each other, it was obvious that me and Anthony had been talking with the Lord much longer than I have. Did I read that right? Let me just make sure I got it right. As we started to get to know each other, it was obvious to me that Anthony has been talking with the Lord much longer than I have. Yeah. So he says he has allowed the Holy Spirit to do the work in molding him into the man after God's own heart.
Yeah.
His compassion has helped me with my lifelong struggle with really knowing how to take care of my body. I can remember it like it was yesterday when he said to me, "The Spirit is asking me to help you with your health." And in his obedience, he's done just that. He has helped me in so many ways in my walk with Jesus that he doesn't even realize. He has shown me time and time again that grace wins, and there is no need for me to be condemning myself for all my past mistakes.
Tear it up.
Because-
A little tear. A
He
little
says,
tear.
because Jesus isn't. Romans 8:1. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Anthony has taught me, without knowing it, how to walk in the unconditional, unearned love of God. His grace truly is sufficient. I truly feel blessed and honored to be a friend of his, but way more importantly, a brother in Christ. The world is in desperate need of spirit-led men like Anthony right now, and he has been an inspiration to me and so many others that have crossed his path. I am grateful for God's divine appointment with Anthony, and I roughly 10 years ago at church, and let's see,
It's crazy.
and I truly look forward to what God has in store for him in the future. Thank you, my brother. As Anthony always says, be blessed. Phil Battaglino.
Oh my God, Phil! Thank you, man.
Awesome, man. That was beautiful.
That's unbelievable.
That was beautiful. That was
completely
beautiful.
humbling. You made me cry, man. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna look tough.
It was beautiful.
Wow.
When I read that, I was
Holy
like,
mackerel.
wow,
That's
wow.
that's a whopper.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
got one
amazing.
more.
It's not
Wow.
over.
We got one more.
Okay.
This one is from Nick.
Nick, right?
Yeah, you got the picture?
Look at that picture,
Nick
man.
That's a good
Patterson.
chance
Oh,
to
I
That
know Nick
picture
was.
an
was
awesome
insane.
Nutty,
Look
right?
at that picture.
Nick
Yeah.
is my boy.
It's like a whole new guy. He just got 10 years younger here.
Oh my God,
that's cool.
Nick. Was,
Not like
yeah.
his face.
This is a guy, you want to talk about somebody making changes on the fly, because he had a very hectic schedule and he could have had many excuses and he didn't.
Wow.
And obviously the pictures
Yeah, yeah.
themselves.
He has a kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
kid?
he's
Yeah,
a
look at that.
He's a hustler too.
Yeah.
Wow,
What did he
that's
say?
awesome. All right, so Nick says, 12/3/2019, I started my health journey. Bad lower back, repaired right knee, and 2 barking shoulders kept me out of the gym for 13 years. I developed a terrible eating lifestyle, and my doctors wanted me on a heart and blood pressure medication. I started exercising from home, but that wasn't getting the desired results. So several months later, I hired a nutritionist, Coach Anthony Dell. Dell put a custom plan together that fit my goals. He's also made many adjustments along the way based on my feedback. Over 20-month period, I lost 87 pounds.
Wow.
And my doctors are shocked by my blood work and results. I'm a Christian, so having Dell as a believer helped us connect on another level.
Yeah.
He would encourage me with scripture, asking me questions, and pointing me back to my goals and God. Thanks very much, Nick.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Nick.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Nick, great job, man. If you're watching, wow, we're proud of you. That's awesome. You know, it's amazing because everything that these people are saying are things that you said without even knowing that they were going to be saying this. You know, like you said, you know, a custom. He did a custom plan just for me, according
Right.
to my needs, and now the doctors are shocked with the results.
He lost a lot of weight
like
before he came to me, but he worked his ass off big time. I mean,
Wow.
he was diligent, and like the guy, like Phil and Nick are saved, and it just those relationships are just bonded a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I have like treated them, Phil and Nick and even Lou, the same way that I treat everybody, and like. In this business, because now and you have the age of like the coach, everybody's a coach,
Yeah.
and people are pumping out a lot of numbers. Like I have an IG following that's on the smaller side, but you have these other coaches that are 500, 600 million followers that can't keep up with the volume and get these generic plans. I can't bring myself to do that, so I have to cap the amount of people that I work with.
Right.
So when somebody comes to me, like I give them everything that I have because
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it any other way because I generally want to help them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's how I pay my bills,
Yeah.
but more importantly, like I want to make sure that they're comfortable and they understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
And if somebody does tail off, and we leave because we leave off on good terms, like they're always allowed to come back.
Yeah, yeah. Which is good because you have a great relationship with them.
Yeah.
You know, and they really do see you as a coach, not as just a course that you bought from the internet.
Right.
Yeah,
And a lot of people that I have worked with prior, like when they come to, if you work with another coach and you come to me, and there are a lot of great coaches out there, but there are a lot of coaches that are subpar, and when somebody comes to me, they're like blown away. But like to me, that's like the normal, like I'm like, you didn't get this from your other coach. Like I make myself available on WhatsApp.
Right.
Like pretty much 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can text me whenever you want. A lot of coaches only communicate by weekly or bi-weekly emails.
Wow.
I think it's very important, especially in the beginning stages of the program, to communicate every little thing. Like there's no stupid questions. Like how much water should I drink? When should I do cardio? Because if you learn it now, it'll become second nature.
Yeah.
Because eventually the reality of the situation is you're not going to be with me forever.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of people, like I'm with people 3 years. Like, and we have a great relationship. And then there are people that, like, I'm going to take a break and then come back. So at the bare minimum, I don't think I've ever been with anybody less than 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they get results.
Yeah.
Yeah, the results are
Good
right
results.
there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not over yet. So I got something else for you here, too. This one, you're going to be able to watch it.
Let me get some tissue for him.
Hey everyone, my name is Thomas Wiley. I've been with Dellaventura for about 3 years. We started with a lifestyle plan and eventually ventured out into the competitor plan. And during that time, I've been with other coaches and I've trained with other people. But Anthony has a very, very special gift. He gets to know you as a person. He gets to know your limitations. He gets to know your faults, your assets, your strengths, your weaknesses. When you're with him, you feel like you're the only client. And, you know, for the record, he has a lot of clients, but when you're with him, it just seems like you're the only person. Because the attention to detail is always, you feel like it's just you and him. This is our 3rd year together, and it's been a very emotional year. I had a rotator cuff surgery and some neck issues as well, and it took me a long time to get back. And a lot of coaches could have just said, somebody said, you know, call me when you're healthy. Or, you know, let me know when you want to get back into it again. He, you know, aside from the prep part of it, with the food, nutrition, the supplements, it's the support that he gave me, the scriptures that he recommended for me, motivational books that he recommended for me, kept me going where other coaches might not have done this kind of effort. This time around, this prep was very small, very inner circle, with just myself, Anthony, and a friend to help me train around this shoulder. And here we are a few days out, and I'm just home, just relaxing right now, reflecting. And very grateful to God for putting certain people in my life. And obviously Anthony is, you know, he's the head of the table. You know, he is certainly a gift from God to bring me along, to keep me in check, to keep me motivated. It's such a pleasure to work. I use the word with him. I feel like I'm working for him because I just don't want to, you know, I just want him to be so proud and so happy for me. So I'm trying to do my best with what he's done for me. It's been simply amazing. He's a blessing, you know, and he's a very good guy. I am way, way older than he is, but sometimes I feel like he's my big brother. He's really there to support me, set me straight, support me in a kind word, and then support me in a way where I got a tough love to, you know, man up a little bit. He's not afraid to do that either. So he's definitely a gift from God. He definitely has a godly gift of teaching and nutrition and support, giving you what you need and giving what you don't need. You know, I thank God for Anthony and his wonderful wife, Kristen. And it's just been a pleasure to work with him. I hope to keep this going for a lot more. And I hope you have a great weekend and other ventures to come in the future. So, Anthony, thank you so much for everything you do, brother. I'm just so grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Not over, brother.
It's your other half over here. Just wanted to let you know how proud I am of you for everything you've accomplished, especially over the last 2.5 years with building your business and managing to make it a successful one, especially during a global pandemic. It just speaks volumes to the type of person you are and what you're capable of doing. You truly have a gift. You've helped so many people, and you're blessed to be a blessing. And I'm so thankful that God put you in my life, because I would not be the person I am today if it weren't for you. So I thank you for that, and I love you.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I didn't know I was going to need
Yo, we not prepared for
That's
that.
crazy.
Put in so much hard
I
work.
told-
Tom just won Saturday. He swept it. He won first in 40s, first in 50s, first in 55s. He's going to do his first national show
Wow.
in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Wow,
going to
that's
Pittsburgh.
awesome.
That's
Well,
crazy.
mission
Wow.
accomplished because
Oh
I
my
told
God.
Kristen I want to make that big guy cry.
I was not expecting this. I would have brought a handkerchief or something.
It took a lot of work to get her to do this video.
I
but
can't.
she's like,
I can't believe she did it.
she's like, I don't want to
she's
do
so-
it. I don't
she's
know.
so gun shy.
I said, you compete in front
Oh
of
my God.
hundreds of people, and you're in front
That's
of
why
a
I'm
little
crying
camera.
because I can't believe she did that.
And she told me after 80 takes, here it is.
Oh my God! Oh, it was
I
definitely.
only did it
It was probably
because-
like 100 takes.
She said, "I only did it
Oh
because it
my
was for
God.
him and because you asked so much."
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
was like, "I know you can do it." But she helped me. Mission accomplished. She
Oh
said.
my gosh.
She helped me so much get in touch with all these people, and
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So the moment you said yes, I
Thanks,
contacted
Chris.
her.
Love you.
And I said, I need your help, and
Oh my God.
and she helped me get these people to, and it was easy. You
Blown
know,
away.
she had to help me because I don't know them,
Right, right.
But it was easy because they love you so much. You know, like it was easy for them just to write something or do a video like that. You know, just to
very
thank
humbling,
you, and
very humbling.
and it's awesome because like we were talking about here, you didn't even know what was coming.
No,
But
you
know,
blindsided me.
Yeah, it's all
Now
about
everybody
you
saw
know,
me, see me cry.
you know, but it was beautiful because it really showed.
I actually cry pretty easy.
You do?
Yeah, a
Oh,
little
I
bit,
didn't know.
yeah.
I thought it was
Like,
gonna
no,
be
like
tough.
if it hits like another,
I'm a crier too.
if somebody like that I'm close with or emotional
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it, like
yeah.
that chokes me up.
Yeah. I am.
But it's
one.
good because you this is how you know you're doing something right.
Yeah,
Like you
apparently I'm doing something right.
because you set yourself apart from every other coach out there. You know, all the coaches
Yeah.
out there, they probably don't even take any consideration to how they feel mentally,
Wow,
emotionally
blown
through the whole
away.
journey. So that says
Yeah.
a
To
lot.
get
you know?
Kristen to do that, that's props right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. She
Yeah.
was like, I
I'm
hate
shocked.
camera.
I'm
And I was like,
shocked.
I'm sure you can do it. I said, you compete in front of people and you're posing.
That's
and
such a-
and she's
let me-
like, it's different.
It's totally out of her comfort zone to do that because
Yeah.
she doesn't like to be in crowds and do things
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah, it's
that's
awesome.
why I was getting choked up because I'm like, I can't believe she did this.
Yeah, and people don't know this. People that don't know you guys, if they go to Instagram, she's an incredible athlete too. She
Wow.
competes. She became a professional
She
like
became a
you.
professional, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are an
Wow.
incredible
That's
team.
nice.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Everybody that sent a message.
So blessed. Thank
And-
you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you guys are
Like,
awesome. This
really,
is
really
great.
good. Thank you
Seriously,
so
A lot
much.
of value, man.
I
A
believe
lot of
that we're
value.
going to be able to help so many people.
Oh,
This is
praise
going to
God.
stay on YouTube and people will watch it. And please get in touch with this man if you need help.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
in
so you
touch
guys
with
can
this
reach
man.
me. So my IG is Anthony_Deluxe, DELLUXE. You can check out the website at deluxecoaching.com.
Looks.
I'm very easy to get in touch with.
Yeah, no, he will respond to you immediately, and it doesn't have to be like nearby. You can send them
I
stuff
work.
to do.
I
in
work with
different
people
places, right?
internationally,
Yeah.
across country. Yeah, I mean it doesn't have to be
Because you
local,
send them the workout program
Yeah.
and they go to their local gym and get it done. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
get in touch
Stop
with this man.
procrastinating.
Yeah,
Do
and
it
get
now.
some help. You can see that this man know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So he's gonna help you. That was the purpose of this podcast because that's the purpose of the podcast in general is to be an impact in somebody's life, to help you, to help others. So do this. Get healthy, get in shape, stay alive, and do what you need to do, and get in touch with the professional here that will take care of you 24/7.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
We
man.
appreciate you.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
And maybe in the near future we'll do it again and come and tell
Oh,
us more
100%.
things.
100%.
Yeah.
So I'll fill you in on the clinic when we get up and running.
Yeah.
That'll be big for people. If anybody's in the area, we're gonna be. So it's AIM Health in Livingston, New Jersey. Again, you guys can reach out to me. It's gonna be an anti-aging and wellness clinic.
Look at that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Looking good, everybody. We love you. Thank you so much for being here with us again. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Subscribe, please. Like,
the
share
video.
with your friends. Let us know that you're here. We love the comments. We love to hear and see what you think and how this helped you somehow. Share with your friends. It really helps us and blesses us to continue to do this because that's the only reason why we're here is to be a blessing to somebody. So please do that. Share with your friends and don't forget every Monday at 7:30 p.m. We are live. And next week we have an international guest. So stay tuned and watch it with us. We're going to have a special guest all the way from Brazil next week. Woo. It's going to be great. So we're looking forward to seeing you. Have an incredible week.
End it with the flex.
In Jesus' name. Oh, yeah, go on.
End it with the flex.
Yeah.
And the laugh, of course. The laugh.
Oh, man.
Don't tell anybody that I was crying.
Do it again, because it was a... Oh, man, look at that. That's awesome. We love you. Be blessed in Jesus' name. Have an incredible week.
Amen.
Bye-bye.